Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Uncle Dan here, the chicken man. Woohoo! At least now I am, right? So I did a thing, right? So yesterday I went over to Paris Farmers Union because they had what I was looking for. They had some hardware cloth, a little bit more than I needed, but I had, it's all the only hardware cloth I could find within at all. They also had something called a cattle panel, which Jennifer has been complaining about for about 2 months now. She's seen it on YouTube, wanted to try it. So I went out and I bought one yesterday for her. Here it is. Now, the problem is it's a 16-foot by 5-foot cattle panel. Now, I got me a truck so I can move stuff. I was not prepared for that. So I ended up putting it just like it is right now. Yeah, that's Jenny over there. Say hi, Jenny.
Hello.
She's weeding the garden. So I put it just like this in my truck. So I had like a 10-foot canopy over the back of my truck yesterday coming home. So anyways... They gave me the wrong hardware cloth, so I went in and got some today. And I came home, and I've been doing a few things. So the first thing is we have a couple new additions to our, what do you call them? Clutch, right? That's what you call them. Chickens are a clutch, not a flock. That's seagulls. All right, so we have a couple new birds here. We got some itty bits right there. I don't know if y'all can see them. There we go, there's a couple. And we got some itty bits out there. So the other thing I did today, I had a stack of coolers. I didn't know what to do with them. This used to be a shed. So I had lots of stuff in here. And I left the coolers in here stacked up on top of each other. And all of the chickens were kind of arguing over who was going to sit on top. So Jennifer said, you should do something about that. So I did. So I took the coolers out. And I built this 3-tier roost. Now, one of the things I heard was you should make one roost the same height all the way around so there's no fight for dominance. But right now I got some itty bits. I got some almost itty bits. And then I got some bigger itty bits. So I figured that's going to be good for now. So I did that. The other thing I worked on today is I took some. The reason why I got that hardware cloth was because when I built the chicken coop, all they had was this chicken wire, which is holes about 1 inch in diameter, really. So the whole chicken coop, inside and out, was made out of that. Now that leads to a problem. The other thing is I built this enclosure in my backyard. My backyard's not level, so that led to another problem. So the couple problems I got is I got this chicken wire here, and then down here I got these gaps underneath where anything and everything that is able to dig or fit will get in. Now that's been our chipmunk issue. They can fit right through them holes. The other problem I had was this was a shed at one point in time that I had to have on cinder blocks, so I was worried about things getting in underneath. So I put in the hardware cloth, and what I did was I dug down about 1 foot, and it comes about 1 foot out. So underneath here, about 1 foot down, from here up, is hardware cloth, right? Now, I know it should have been on the outside, but I can't get underneath the shed to be able to do that. So I figured this is going to be at least my best attempt at doing that. And my other plan is, I've already done one side, so I can show you that side. But my plan is to go around the entire bottom of this with hardware cloth like I did over here. So you can see it comes about 1.5 feet out, which this is going to get staked down, and it's going to get covered in topsoil, and it goes about 1.5 feet up. I had a whole bunch of old laminate flooring, a pile of it. Jennifer always said, what are you keeping that for? What are you keeping that for? I had no idea, but I've now found a use for it. If you can tell, what I've done is I've cut it into strips to secure the hardware cloth to the 2x4 underneath the base, right? So the idea is that nothing will be able to climb up under here and get in through that. They would have to then climb under the hardware cloth from here, which is going to be staked down, covered with topsoil, and have grass and whatnot planted on it. what I would really like to do is I would like to plant, I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if I could make like a raised bed right here and then plant some chicken-friendly food plants there. You can see they're already pecking at the the hardware cloth inside, trying to figure out what to do. So this is what I've been working on after work. This is what I do. I come home, I do stuff, you know. I still got a lot of cleaning in my yard. Those of you that see these videos, you'll notice piles like this. I got piles of crap all over this yard that I have to take care of. And I do, a little bit at a time. That's kind of what we do. So here's Jenny's garden. We got four 6x9 raised beds. What do we got in this one, Jennifer?
A whole bunch of bolting greens that I've actually let go to seed. Matter of fact, the pak choi over there is edible seed, which I was just munching on.
Which is good because I don't like bok choy.
And then we have radishes that bolted that I...
Now, what does bolted mean?
Bolting means that when it gets really, really hot, lettuces are super cold weather plants. And I didn't realize that too much fertilizer will cause them to get super green and luscious, and then once the heat gets on, it's turned right up, which it has been, they'll bolt. So
bolting means that it's beyond just being able to eat the leaf?
Bolting is going to seed, and once a leaf goes to seed, it changes chemically, so it becomes bitter. And it just, yeah.
Bitter.
So like mustard right there, which hasn't bolted yet. I need to actually grab that before this weekend. So by the end of this weekend, this is going to be all cleared out to put down some beets. We got some new fall.
We got some really nice heirloom beets that we're going to be planting. They're going to be so yummy. There's something like Detroit blood and striped, right? Is that what they're called?
Detroit red, which is a striped but a deep bloody red, and then the candy cane, which is a white and red striped. So those are really good, really sweet. The Detroits are super.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a really good time.
Try this.
What is that?
This is a pak choi seed pod.
I don't like chalk boy.
You love peas? You like pea pods? It's supposed to be really tasty.
Tastes like grass.
Well, I've tried.
I'll take her pea though.
That's the one pea that has managed to. This, I think, will be producing very
And what is
soon.
this here?
These are all peas.
Those are all peas as well?
They're flowering nicely. I think they needed some height. We didn't get height over there. And the peas over there, actually, they are loving and munching the peas I just pulled out.
Look at this.
Yeah, they are happy. Oh, look, the littles are out.
Oh my gosh.
They want some peas. They were probably trying to figure out where the party was. I want some peas.
Well, Jenny said they're used to being outside.
Here, you know what?
So we got itty bits and itty bits, and they're all outside. Now, you heard me say Jenny said they're used to being outside. So for those of you that don't know, I have several Jennifers in my life, a couple Jeanettes, and a lot of people that go by the name Jen, Jennifer, or Jenny.
Seems like Jeanettes prefer Jenny.
Jeanettes do prefer Jenny. And both of the Jennies, if you're watching,
they're the only Jenny
right on.
They're the only Jennies that trump this Jenny, because this Jenny in my family is a Jenny, but I'm a Jennifer outside of the family.
And what is a Jenny?
Oh,
I'm horrible. I'm sorry.
Girls, sick 'em next time you get a chance, okay? Just saying. All right.
I'm only joking. So what do we have in this bed here?
Oh, goodness.
Do we have carrots? Is that what I see?
Yes, very weedy carrots.
We have weedy carrots, and it looks like, is that chard?
We have, yes, the chard, which does not bolt in heat, which is awesome. Oh, there's a squash bug right there.
Our chard is not in heat.
does not mind the heat, so it's not bolting. But this will probably be ready to be taken out here very shortly. The carrots are doing really good. The beets are starting to show shoulders, so these are
Now, those are the store-bought beets? Is that what those are?
these are the...
They're not the ones that we ordered, not the heirloom?
These are the beets that Robin got for Kira during homeschool. So these are Kira's beets.
Okay.
Even though we'll probably eat some, but we'll share
So,
with Kara.
real quick, the cattle panel archway that we made, again, it's a 16 by 5 foot panel. That's all it is. You don't cut it. You don't do nothing. You put up a stake, a fence post stake, like this here, and then you just wire tie it. And you do the same on the other side, and you wire tie it, and it makes this cool archway. Now, what we did was we connected the pumpkins and the squash to it, so that these are going to grow up, and it's got enough stability that it's going to be able to manage holding the melons, the pumpkins, whatever we put on it. So next year, we're actually going to probably add a couple more of those. I really like the way it came out.
Actually, over there...
Thumbs up to Roots and Refuge for that, because that idea came from them.
Well, actually, I'm hoping over there will hopefully be some raised beds and cattle panels to... I don't know if they're going to go that way or come out this way as the sun goes that way. But I really would like to try a couple of tomato experiments and work on using cattle panels to support tomatoes.
Supporting tomatoes. We do have some tomato plants. What kind of tomatoes are those?
This one's an early girl, which needs such support. It's sagging.
That's this one here?
Yes, it is.
Oh, look at all them. Look at all that fruit.
It is going to fruit pretty well, pretty nicely. Actually,
oh, look at what's that? A little tiny bitty frog down there somewhere. I put it on video, but I don't know where it went.
And again, it's weedy.
So the early girls are really fruiting well.
Yeah,
look at this one's got a little thing sticking out of it there.
That's the unicorn one.
The unicorn one.
That happens when a blossom gets stuck to it, and it just continues to try to grow with it. And then the rest of these are either early girl suckers that I tried to clip off because I did try to trim this, but it just carried away. We got a couple Romas and a couple cherries. I think Romas are through here, and I think these 4 here are cherries, but I've lost track of what is what. So they're surprise me not. So.
So a lot of, one of the things we're learning through, or at least one of the things I'm learning through watching some of the YouTube channels that we watch, is that gardening is not so much about the yield that you get, though that's great if you can get yield. It's more about learning how to work within the environment that you have in order to be effective at growing. And that's kind of what we're doing this year, is we're really kind of experimenting and learning and trying to figure out, okay, what can we do and where? As Jennifer said, I mean, I've showed you guys before, we've been clearing a lot of land back there, and we plan on clearing some more over here. I started working on that the other day. And, we plan on having a bigger garden next year and having perhaps even a greenhouse at that point. Now, we also have out front, I've showed you guys the blueberry patch, which isn't doing too well because of the damn chipmunks.
Yeah.
The chipmunks are raping our blueberries. We're not getting any yield from the blueberries at all. As soon as I find some that look like they're going to be ready in a couple days, I go back a couple days later and they're gone. The other thing we talked about was using bird netting, but I think it's a little too late in the season for that. We also have our grape plants here. We have some Concord grape vines that are doing pretty good. They have quite a bit of fruit on them, and I'm looking forward. Now, normally, because it's so bushy, normally you'd want to cut it back so that you have a smaller vine and it would create bigger and sweeter fruit. But because this is so big and we haven't cut it back, I like having it because they come out a little bit smaller and a little bit more bitter. Now, the good thing about having small bitter grapes is they make great jelly. They really hold their flavor well when you make jelly out of them. And that's what I like doing. I like, I love eating grapes, but I like having jelly more. So I'll be using these for jelly when it's time to harvest those. Now, what's really funny is before I started this video, I was talking with Jennifer, and I said, hey, guess what? And she said, I'm not doing a garden tour. Well, guess what she just did? She just gave you a garden tour. And that's what we got going on.
Home from work here.
So we're up to, well, hey, you look a heck of a lot better than I.
There. Yeah.
I've been home about an hour now, and I went in and changed, and I am absolutely filthy and sweaty from work.
Yeah.
At least you look like you're presentable. So we're now up to 10 chickens.
10?
Yep, we're up to 10. There was only 4, there wasn't 5.
Oh, okay.
So we're up to 10 chickens. We have 4 that are a week old. We have 4 that are a week and a half old. We have 4 that are 2.5 weeks old. And then God knows how old the leghorns are. I think they're 2 months maybe.
2 weeks ago they were 2 months.
So they're 2.5 months. So, within the next few months, we'll start getting them some nesting boxes. Now, the idea is I plan on moving the grapes. Once we harvest them this year, I plan on cutting back the vine and moving them to a new location with a cattle panel archway. I think that would be really kind of cool. Which is what this is. Actually, this ladder here, if you can see, let me see if I can get in there. The ladder that I used right here, it's kind of all broken up, but the ladder that I used to make that archway was actually my great-grandfather, pieces of my great-grandfather's ladder. So this thing is over, well, he had it in the 1800s, the late 1800s. So it's over 100, maybe even close to 150 years old. I do have other pieces of it. See, that was only one section of it. There were 2 sections, and they were huge, huge sections. Let me see if I can find another piece of it that's not covered in grapes. Make it easier for you to see. Now, the problem with it is it's very, very brittle. It can barely hold any weight. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you the piece that's hanging on the back of the shed here. Or now the back of the chicken coop. So we have this piece here. And as you can see, it's just been hanging here, but it's really breaking apart just from holding its own weight because it is so old and so brittle. But it was really kind of cool having that and being able to make something out of that I know, my grandfather would have been proud of. One of the reasons why I decided to do that, my great-grandfather, one of the reasons I decided to do that was because one of the things I remember about my great-grandparents' house is they always had grapevines in the back. So this was really kind of paying homage to that. Yeah. And there we are. So the plan is I'm going to be moving these once they come to harvest. We'll cut them back, and I'll just uproot them and move them. And then in here is where the chicken coop is. Sorry about that. Right in here is where the chicken coop is. If you remember the roosts that I showed you I built, it's right on the other side of this wall. So the idea is I'm going to put brooding boxes there. So that way they can lay, and I'll have a door here to be able to just open and access. I think that'll be kind of cool. At least that's the thoughts I'm having right now. It might be different when it comes time. But for now, that's what we got. Y'all have a good night. I hope you enjoyed the video. There'll be more to come. Hopefully, the more I do, the better I get at doing these. I know there's been a lot of this and all that, but hey, it is what it is, right? So you guys all have a good night. Peace, and yeah, be good.